On this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, freedom isn't free and neither is the barbecue. So welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Shawn Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and I'm joined in studio by your financial coach, George Corbello. George, happy Memorial Day coming up.
Shawn, I have to say it is definitely an honor to be with you on this time of year. I have to say as well, it's been an honor because my daughters are all graduated up to this point, and it's a crazy ride, and you're very proud, obviously, to kind of witness them go through their graduation, but at the same time, it's bittersweet, right? It's kind of an end to their kind of chapter for this, and we're on to the next one. So very proud of them, but it is definitely it's sad in the sense of we're proud. We're very proud of what they were able to accomplish, and really, very excited to see what they're going to do next. So
My niece starts her senior year of high school when we start up in the fall in August of 26, and then now that we're at the end of May, once we get into June, my son starts his bar mitzvah tutoring.
Wow!
In the middle of the year 2027.
Oh my God! I remember when your oldest was going through that. Like now, it's wow, man. They grow up quick.
Years. They
grow up quick, man.
They grow up quick, and my younger one's almost as tall. Sometimes I guess it depends on the day, depends on how much they've had to eat. I guess depends on whether they've peed in the morning or not. One is bigger than the younger one tends to be a little bit taller than the older one.
Nice.
For a couple of weeks, and then the older one will catch up, and then the younger one will catch up, and then the older one will catch up.
Too funny.
So, I don't know. I'm 5'10", 5'9", 5'10". My dad was 6'1", 6'2".
Okay.
So we'll see if the boys are going to be short like their dad or tall like their grandpa.
Not bad. Hey, if you're in between, it's 5'10's not too bad. I mean, it's as being a 5'10" person, it's not too bad. But but I think if you're close to 6, it seems to be the kind of the ideal height for dating. But I think overall, I think your kids are on the right track there. So that's good to see.
Yeah, my wife was shorter than me,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know if they get tall. They would get any tall genes from her. And actually, Memorial Day weekend, we got married. Memorial Day weekend, 2010.
Wow.
So this would have been our 16th, if my math is right.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky sweet 16.
There you go. There you go. Well, I'll say a big shout out then to my wife, since you're taking all the good honors here. But we are celebrating our 25th.
Wow.
Big milestone for us. I've known this woman since 1993, back in the day. So very excited to be celebrating this major milestone with her. And I would say, it's a good time of year to be celebrating.
So the 25th wedding anniversary, you know what that is?
I can imagine it's something expensive.
Silver.
Oh, it's not too bad then. I have a silver spoon somewhere in the house, so we can.
I think if you gave her a silver spoon, it would end up somewhere we can't really talk about.
I think we'll be in trouble there.
I think a silver necklace, a silver ring, a silver
as long as it's
anklet.
it's tied to a diamond, I think she'll be just fine with that.
Diamond is not 25. I'll back you up on diamond is not 25. Silver is 25.
It doesn't matter.
So we are talking about Memorial Day weekend, which if you're listening to this episode on the day that it comes out or soon after it comes out, we'll be all gearing up and prepping for Memorial Day. I did want to go over real quick. Some people tend to get confused. So Memorial Day is memorial. So we're honoring veterans who have armed services personnel who have given their life to their country. Right. So we are memorializing the people that sacrificed all for our country. That's the purpose of Memorial Day. That's different from Veterans Day, which is celebrated in November. Veterans Day is for veterans who are still alive.
They're with us.
They've done their service to their country. They are now either on reserve or still in the military, retired from the military.
Right.
That's Veterans Day. Then we've got Armed Forces Day, which is also in May. And Armed Forces Day is for people currently serving. Mm-hmm. So, it's not just all, and we'll get to the barbecues and all that. It's not just about barbecues on Memorial Day.
It shouldn't be. I mean, it's not. I think we with a lot of these holidays, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, there's a lot of I mean, there is a time for celebration, but I don't think I think people need to recognize first what the true meaning and the theme of the holiday is. So I think take the moment, take the time to really remember those in our family and those obviously who've served in our forces.
Right. So Memorial Day originated after the Civil War as Decoration Day, when Americans decorated the graves of fallen soldiers with flowers and flags. It became a national holiday in 1868 and evolved to honor all U.S. military personnel who died in service. Veterans Day began after World War I to commemorate the armistice on November 11, 1918. Later expanded to honor all veterans. That's why Veterans Day is November 11. So yeah, what do you normally do on Memorial Day?
Well, I mean, obviously, the one thing I do have family, who've served and obviously have passed on as well. So honoring, obviously honoring those who've given everything, for us to have our freedoms, to have these types of opportunities to talk and have these conversations, but at the same time, being able to understand that there's a cost associated with freedom. So it's really taking that moment for that. But the other, for me, it also reminds us to spend time with family. So for me, it's what is it? It's kind of like the gateway to the summer.
Right.
Like when you get to Memorial Day, obviously there's a time for remembrance, but at the same time, it's kind of like, ooh, wow, this is the next. We're here, and now it's the summertime. Like, especially when I used to live up northeast, you got to this point. It's like, ooh, the weather is getting nice. The sun is out a little bit more. We don't have to wear 15 layers of coats, and hopefully by then no snowstorms. At this point, geez, please. But yeah, I think for me it's the gateway to the summertime, which obviously we all really enjoy, and we're all getting ready for that even this year.
Well, I think we picked Memorial Day for our wedding for a couple different reasons. My wife's family has veterans in it, veterans who have passed away. My dad was a veteran of the Air Force. My grandfather was a veteran, I think, of the Army. In fact, my grandfather was a U.S. citizen. He was in the U.S., I believe, the U.S. Army during World War II. He was one of the soldiers that liberated the Dachau concentration camp.
Oh, wow.
And so I've heard stories. My grandfather passed a while back, but he would tell stories about what it was like to walk into that concentration camp and see it, especially with us being Jewish. It hit even harder. And so we always try to remember that kind of stuff on Memorial Day. But we do have to talk about. This is a show not just about the military and honoring the military. It's a show about how to help people control their budget. And so, what do you buy? Hot dogs, hamburgers?
What's the so I mean, if
beer?
We come back to the a lot of people do have it's an extra day off, so thank you for that. If you're not salaried though, you're not getting paid, so that could be some costs that you need to really think about.
Right.
But it's that holiday spending. For me, it's that trap weekend. It's one of those. Anytime we have long holiday weekends, there's always this opportunity for spending a little bit extra. And Memorial Day could be one of those. That weekend could be right. So if you're hosting, you're probably grocery shopping, right? You need to get some drinks and you're inviting people over. So there's costs associated with that. If you're also lucky enough to travel and see folks, because it is that beginning of the summer feel, that's another thing of an opportunity for some more costs associated with that. So I think eating out, things we need for the barbecue, got to get the grill cleaned up, or, oh, wait, maybe I need a new grill because it's the time of grill. Do you see what I mean? We start to justify all types of spending. For me, it's that weekend starts that kind of thought process.
I actually got a quote, so we'll see. Maybe this will be a kind of a topic we talk about as we go, but I got a quote to redo my back patio.
Ooh.
And we're going to put in an outdoor kitchen. And so we're going to put in, I've got the 2 green eggs. So we're going to incorporate the 2 green eggs. But I got to take a screen wall down. I got to install a brand new screen.
Right.
I got to do paver patio, repave the,
Ooh,
the
nice.
patio area, put in the outdoor kitchen. It's not going to be a.
That sounds expensive.
It
a little bit
is.
more, than a weekend spend for sure.
A little bit more than a weekend spend,
Okay.
but we'll see. I mean, it'll be, it's an area we use the backyard and the back patio all the time, so it's an area that we use all the time.
Yeah.
But what gets me about the grocery store runs is, you think you get everything, and then you get to the house and you're like,
I forgot.
we forgot silverware.
Yeah.
Plastic silverware.
Right.
We didn't get enough paper plates for everybody.
Yep.
What about dessert? What
Drinks.
about with drinks? What
Yeah,
about paper
desserts.
plates for dessert? What
Yep.
about ice?
Yep.
What about it's all those. It's not like Memorial Day or any weekend that
yeah.
you're going to have, a party or a cookout or a grill, whatever. It's not that it's one big expense. It's all these little teeny tiny expenses that all add up really quick.
Yeah, I would agree. And here's the other thing too: is if you're inviting people and having the host, you want to be the hostess with the mostest. So are you actually like, hey, I'm charging you a cover fee to come into the home? And so, I mean, a lot of times you have these social pressures to kind of like, hey, if you're coming to my house, I got you covered. I'm going to spend. Don't worry. I got this. No worries.
I like to, when I host, I like to be a good host. And so I want to get, I want to get enough beers that everybody can have maybe one round. I want to
Yep.
get enough burger patties that I don't run out. I want to get enough buns. And part of it, too, is I'll carry on into the week. So if I have extra food from the cookout, then I'll have food to make my kids for lunch into the next week. But
Yeah.
that's my style.
Yeah.
I have plenty of friends that I go over to their house and it's potluck and everybody
potluck.
brings one thing and if that's probably a good way if you are maybe struggling privately and
Yeah.
you're worried about, I don't want to spend all this money on this weekend barbecue.
Yeah.
Turn it into a potluck. People aren't going to care.
Yeah.
Or even I've done this before too. Like I said, when I've forgotten to buy ice. And so I'll text a couple of buddies of mine
Hey,
that
bring that over, right?
Hey, can you pick
Gotcha.
up a bag of ice on your way? I forgot.
Yep.
And my personality style too is that it'll work its way out. It'll work its way back around. So maybe I ask somebody to bring ice when they come over to my house, but then maybe when I go over to their house for a barbecue, during football season, they forgot cheese, and so I'll stop at the store and pick up some, cheese slices, and it eventually will all balance and reconcile itself out. I'm not necessarily keeping tabs about,
You owe me a goat cheese.
yeah, I use 4 slices of cheese, and we only used 3 burgers,
Wait
and
a
you owe
second.
me a slice of cheese. I whatever. It'll
That
all
was a
balance
really
out,
bad
man.
cut for the steak, buddy.
Exactly.
All right? I can't believe you even invited me for that. No. And it's funny. For me, we do, we goof about it, but going into these types of weekends, especially if we're going to be traveling or if we're going to be hosting or if we're going to be, a lot of us, we don't go in with a plan. We're thinking like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out after the fact. But think about it. Saturday you go in and like I host something. Sunday I go and I travel, right? And then I eat out on Monday. By the time you get out of the weekend, and in my case too, I think our anniversaries are that Tuesday. So Wednesday I'm already like, what happened? Where'd all this money go? But again, if you don't go in with a plan of like, okay, how are we going to handle this kind of situation? You have maybe a really good weekend and then come back and have like buyer's remorse. You have that feeling of like, oh man, why did I spend did I have to spend so much money? But if you don't go into the weekend with at least an understanding of what you want to spend, you get out of it, and instead of enjoying the weekend, now there's this regret in regards to what you spend.
Well, and one other way to combat that too is you just talk to the people that are in your circle that you invite to these things, and you can even say, hey, I'm going to host Memorial Day this weekend. Will you host 4th of July? Or, hey, we're going to host Memorial Day. What are you doing for the Super Bowl? Or thank you for inviting us to the Super Bowl. Why don't you come over
Right.
to our house for Memorial Day?
Love it.
There's nothing wrong with splitting up the barbecue.
Yeah, the hosting duties.
Right.
I love that. I would say too, going into these types of weekends, I'm always in the boat of proactive planning, right? go in, and I'll call it the freedom number. What's the number? What's your budget for the weekend, right?
Yeah.
And basically, it's kind of like, I'm going to spend 200, I'm going to spend 300, I'm going to spend whatever that number might be that you're comfortable with, that you can afford out of pocket. And again, there's no guilt. There's no stress tied to that. The reason why we get so stressed out when it comes to this is because we don't have a number. Have a number going into the weekend so that you at least know, okay, I'm approaching it. I have to say either no, or I can't, again, there's discipline that puts you in a position to go, okay, maybe let me slow down on what I'm spending.
And I don't know. I mean, I have some brand loyalty, but at the same time, I went to a barbecue last weekend, and I volunteered to bring the burgers and the dogs, and no, actually, she had the hot dogs, and so I offered to bring the burgers and hot dog buns and hamburger buns. And when I walked into the store, they had hot dog. The one company that made hot dog buns and hamburger buns was a BOGO. It was a buy one get one free.
Yeah.
Wasn't the brand we normally eat, but it was buy one get one free.
Yeah.
So those are the buns that I bought.
There is no shame in that game, and if somebody's looking in your pantry to see what you're buying and stuff like that, I think
They don't deserve
you got
to be at the party.
You probably shouldn't be at the party anyway. So that's something I would question. But and the other thing too is we feel the social pressures. We always say, right? So I'm hosting, and then I got to go to a friend's house, and then I'm going to go eat and out and. You have choice, right? Here's the other thing too. You could say, let me pick one out of the three. What's the priority? What's going to be important to me as part of this weekend as well, so that there's not this stress of like I have to do all three. It's one of those kind of things where it's like no, really, like let's make it. What's going to be the most important out of these three? Maybe hosting is not the most important. It's like what, but I'd rather be in my friend's house,
right,
and do and kind of bring something or have a warm gift or whatever it might be from that stage. So I think that's the other thing we tend to forget.
I love hosting until it's time to clean up.
Oh, cleanup is the worst.
Then I don't like it so much. But
cleanup is the worst.
every once in a while, some of the other people will start cleaning up for you, and so that I like that.
That's always nice.
But it's and again, it's what do you enjoy doing? It doesn't take much arm twisting to get me to fire up the green egg and turn on the barbecue. It doesn't. So
Noted.
I enjoy absolutely. I enjoy doing it.
Right.
And I know I have other friends that don't want to cook, and they would either rather bring something in, or maybe they'll host at their house, but they don't want to cook, and whatever. You split up the responsibilities. You have a good time.
Yeah, I like the idea too of like you have mentioned like some of these little costs that creep up, right? And I think if you're hosting, you have friends to kind of like, hey, could you pick this up? I mean, obviously you're a host, you don't want to leave to go,
right,
and you're in the middle of hosting. I'm going to go and buy, I got to go to the grocery store itself. But if you have, guests that are free, good friends, I would hope that you have. It's like, hey, let me go pick it up for you. No worries. You keep being the hostess with the mostest. I'll take care of what you need from that standpoint.
Again, typically, and I guess everybody's friend group is a little bit different, but sometimes I'll say to a buddy of mine, hey, I forgot to buy paper plates.
Yeah.
Can you go out and buy paper plates? And I'll reach into my wallet and I'll pull out a 5 or a 10 or a 20 or whatever.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
And they always say, don't worry about it, I got
you.
They always say that.
Yep.
Because, again, the next time I'm at their house and they're like, hey, we forgot plastic silverware.
Yep, I got you.
They'll pull out a 20 and I'll say, I got it.
Right.
And like I said, again, it all evens out. And then the other thing that I like about these big barbecues, like I said, it's what to do after the fact.
Ooh,
so
love that.
So maybe I spent more money than I intended in getting ready for the barbecue, but now I have leftovers that I can give to the boys, and so that's less I have to spend in my weekly spending for after the barbecue. So maybe you plan, I'm not going to go out as much the week after Memorial Day. I'm not going to go out and eat as much. I'm going to have more leftovers. There's leftover burgers, leftover hot dogs, leftover this, leftover that, leftover dessert.
Yep.
Leftover veggie trays. I love leftover veggie trays. And that's what I'm going to eat.
No, and it's funny. You think about like the after the fact. It's like it should be a lighter spending week if you think about it, right? If you go for the weekend, you may have some extra hot dogs or burger meat, things that you don't even cook. It could be stuff that just didn't make it to the grill. and you have, you'll have leftovers for the rest of the week that you may have there. The other decision you could make as well is like, okay, since I have all these leftovers or things, maybe we don't eat out as much. We don't eat out as all. So that kind of also helps with some of the controlled spending for that rest of the week. I always look at it as like, hey, look, it's a mindset thing right now, right? Like, am I going to allow this kind of weekend to kind of ruin the rest of the month or ruin what we're trying to do for getting ready for the next month? Because Memorial Day at the end of May, it's not something that we need to put ourselves stressed out. Like, oh my goodness, this was terrible. And you might have such a great time because you had friends and family and people over. These are good things. I hate the fact that we sometimes let money become this factor that kind of ruins that experience.
Right. And I think that's the main point here is you don't want to necessarily overspend. But what you do spend, you feel good in that you've got good friends, you've got good company, you've got laughter, you've got fun times, you've got music, you've got swimming, you've got barbecues, you've got all this stuff. And that stuff has value. In other words, to spend $100, $200, $300 getting a party put together, but I have a great time that I'm going to remember for weeks. I'm going to remember it next year when I go to my
years. Do you do it again?
Facebook memories, right? Until I do it again. But looking back at Facebook memories, looking back at all that stuff, it's going to be a fun memory. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, and I think here's the thing. We got to be careful with that. We're not justifying overspending for that reason, but at the same time, if you're going to have the party, provide the plan, have a plan. Be intentional with how you're spending over that weekend. And again, it's just that reflection, right? People gave up a lot for the freedoms. They gave up everything. I shouldn't say a lot. They gave up everything for those freedoms. And yet we're here still freaking out about, I'm feeling trapped because of the overspending I may have done for the barbecue. It's just, let's have that reflection and keep remembering that.
And again, if you don't have a lot of money and you don't have a lot of ability to put a big barbecue or a big weekend or a big party, or you're not going.
And that definition of big is, loosely, but I got you.
But what I was going to say is, that won't prevent you from just taking time, reflecting on what Memorial Day means to you, having a normal dinner with your friends, with your family, by yourself, watching TV, watching The West Wing.
Love it.
Whatever it is you want to do. You don't have to do a blowout, huge, mega party to celebrate this stuff. If you just take 5 minutes and just think about people that who are or were in the military, and on Memorial Day who maybe are no longer with us.
Right, exactly.
And that's all Memorial Day is about.
For me, why are we in a position where we're sacrificing our peace for something, again, for things that I think we're in control? I would say for the weekend, reflection, go in with a plan, and come out with a post weekend strategy, so you don't have to feel this issue of this regret and stress when it comes to enjoying time with family in these great weekends like this.
And again, if it's something that you're upset, you're listening to this show and you're upset because you don't have the ability to host something this year, what? $10 a month, and you'll have $120 this time next year to put towards next year's barbecue.
There you go.
$20, you'll have $240.
Yep.
$20 a month, you'll save up $240 in a year. That'll get you a nice barbecue next year.
Right. But that's so far away, Shawn. But I get it. I love the idea of it's one of those it's a nice goal to have, where it's like, again, how can I create a stress-free experience?
Right.
And that's definitely one way to do that. So love it. I love that idea.
So anything else going on?
I would say just go and enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the celebration of this again, of this holiday. Have a hot dog and a beer on me. And I would say, maybe even a cigar if you're into that mode as well.
Maybe a cigar. So really funny story, and may not be appropriate for Memorial Day, more of a 4th of July story.
Okay.
But before I met my wife, the girl that I dated seriously before I met my wife, they were all Canadian citizens. They got naturalized, became citizens on the 4th of July, late 2000, sometime before, like, must have been like 2008 or 9 or no, it was before that. It was like 2004, 5, 6, somewhere in that range.
Sure.
And so after the naturalization ceremony, they said, "What are we going to do?" I went, "It's the 4th of July. We got to grill out hot dogs."
Works for me.
That's what you do on the 4th of July. So that's what we did.
I love it.
We all had hot dogs and celebrated some new Canadian American citizens.
That's great to hear.
So anyway, if you want to help us with our Memorial Day barbecue fund, you can go to patreon.com/crushingdebt. You can help us support the show there. Seriously, all the money that we earn there does go back into the show. So thank you all for that.
Thank you.
The Pan Can Walk is officially over, but you can still fundraise for this year's team until June of 2026. Once we get beyond June of 2026, we start fundraising for 2027. We did finish as the number 9 fundraising team in Tampa Bay, over $5,000 raised.
Not bad.
So I'm very proud of that. We will, of course, do it again next year. And I think for those of you that are interested, one thing that I may do, probably will do, I'll create another shirt for our team, and we'll get corporate sponsors to donate towards not only the production of the shirt, but for the team itself. And so we'll raise some money with some corporate sponsorships going into next year. I have a feeling Yesner Law and the Crushing Debt podcast may both become corporate sponsors for next year's.
Very
walk.
nice.
We'll see.
Very nice.
So other than that, happy Memorial Day
To everybody.
to everybody
love
listening
it.
out there. Everyone
you,
that
sir.
has friends, family who are in the military, who have given their life to serve the country. Thank you,
Yeah.
for your sacrifice. And I think that'll do it.
I think it's a good way to go into the weekend, my friend. I love it.
And I hope you have more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money. And we will talk to you in next week's episode.